Hey, Greg Herlean here with my son Carson Herlean, Mr. DJ Carson Herlean.
I gotta find a better DJ name than that.
Yeah, we do need to create your DJ name. Anyways, welcome back to Generational Gains. Excited to be here with you today and share a little bit of some things that are current that we talk about, that people ask us about. And so I'm excited about today and excited to see and be with Carson as always. Everyone always comes up to me and tells me how mature he is and how proud I am. And it's so true that I am very proud of him. Maturity is just sometimes, I don't know, when we're at dinner tables, I think his wife would probably agree with me. He's still picking on his brother and or saying things to me like he'll call me by my first name just so I punch him, things like that. But that is my boy, Mr. Carson Herlean.
Oh, gosh.
Anyways, he and his wife, Anna, love and their little baby Wells. We're excited. So here we are, Generational Gains. Soon, Carson will be doing this with baby Wells in a couple years. Can't wait for that.
Yeah. My mother-in-law always jokes that she's always like, does he know the spiel yet? Because he's like, he sits on me while I like work and do phone calls and stuff.
Yeah,
does he know about it yet? Can he do the sales for you? Yeah.
Well, also just coming off of a big baseball game last night. Don't know if you stayed up.
I did not stay up. Didn't it go to 1 a.m.?
18 innings, went to midnight, 7 hours.
Pacific time.
7 hours, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Anyways, if you listen to this and you saw it, it was history. It was the longest ever World Series game.
No way.
But anyways, not here to talk about that. Wanted to share something with you. I actually wanted to ask Carson. When Carson and I were kind of preparing and talking about the subject a little bit earlier this week. And today we were talking about what we can share that's in our lives that have come up recently. And I wanted to kind of put more focus on Carson today because he's in the infinite banking kind of concept and teaching people how the banking concept works with insurance policies. But what I've also seen and heard from other marketers is people take a different twist on it. Why people should buy and bank and use insurance policies. And if you've heard this before, you probably have heard from others too. People use it for different things, but more importantly, have an emphasis on something specific. And so I just kind of want to ask Carson that, like, since you started and also the clients that you meet with and see, and I know for yourself as well, how has that transition? Because I feel like the reason why you started doing this in the beginning and helping people has changed where you are today and kind of your main focus. I don't know if that question makes sense, but
yeah.
Why do people do this? What is the leading thing into infinite banking using a whole life insurance policy and how it's changed for you in the last few years?
Yeah, I think a lot of people, when they first learn about the strategy, they hear the terms like use your money twice or be the bank or take control over your finances and those type of ideas, which I think are all technically accurate, but that's what gets people in the door. And then when people look at these policies that they're designing to do banking, what they typically are looking at is, okay, well, how can I be having my money sit in this policy and grow while I leverage it to invest and make money elsewhere, or while I leverage it and pay off my debts or make a purchase for a car? That way, I still am going to use my money, but I don't have any opportunity cost of it not growing for me anymore. It can now sit inside of this policy and grow forever. And then you can leverage it to go purchase those things, pay off those debts, or make those investments. And so I think that's what gets people in the door and gets people to want to incorporate this strategy because it's a way to use your money twice in a way. I think that's the foundation. That's what people first come into this wanting to learn about, is how they can do that. And I think it shifts over time into a broader use, I guess you could say. You can use these insurance policies in such a versatile way, really compared to any other financial product out there. You can be sure maybe in the beginning paying stuff off or buying things or just using it to finance things in your life. But after you've built enough money up in the policy, and this is what I've been doing more of, and people who are deeper into the strategy, years into it, they have enough money in there to do this kind of stuff. They're pulling money out of their policies to pay for taxes, to pay for vacations, to their personal, bigger expenses in their life. They're running through policies. And then from there, they're looking at...
Then they just pay it back?
Maybe they even won't. Maybe they'll just use it as a place to store capital, then pull money out and go purchase those things. And because they have enough built up in there, because they have enough out invested producing income that's refilling the policy anyways, who cares about repaying it? There's already a system to kind of repay it.
Can you give me an example of that, like with real numbers of what you just said? So like, I don't know, take 100,000 or 200,000, whatever the number is. Like someone puts in, I don't know, what you tell me, $200,000?
Yeah, I mean, the whole point of using a policy as a savings vehicle or banking vehicle is because of the attributes that this account has, I guess you could say. The policy, it's guaranteed to grow from day one. It's tax-free growth forever. You don't get that in anything but a Roth IRA. I guess muni bonds too. And it has a death benefit to protect you and your assets and your family. It's protected against lawsuits, judgments, liens, the market crashing, bankruptcy in some states. So it's a very safe asset. And as well, on top of that, it's still liquid. And if you do take any money out of the policy, your full account value continues to grow while you take the loan against it. So now you have growth, tax-free, death benefit, protection, and you still have access to the funds at the same time. So it's like, well, it's a no-brainer then. Why wouldn't everyone just save their money in the policy? So if we're using it as a savings to then get to your question, okay, let's say you save 15 grand a year. You're putting 15 grand a year into this policy. 5 years into it, you've put into it 60, 75 grand. So you now built up enough chunk of change where maybe you put aside $500 a month for your tax bill every April. So maybe you start.
What do you mean put aside?
A lot of people have either a tax savings account, they put money aside for to prepare for taxes, or they pay tax quarterly outside of the policy. Okay, got it. So maybe instead of doing that, you do it through a policy instead. Now you're a few years into it, you have enough money built up in there. Maybe every April you take a $10K loan from your policy to pay the tax bill, or the $20K loan to pay the tax bill. And then instead of putting extra money aside or preparing for taxes next quarter, you use the policy for that. You just maybe start saving some money back in the policy, building some funds back up in there. And then every time you need to pull money out to pay taxes, you use the policy to pay for it. Mm-hmm. And now money's kind of going in and out of your policy at all times to finance the taxes. And you could do the same idea for really anything. If you have one big 10 grand vacation every year for your family, put $800 a month in the policy. And then once a year, take 10 grand out and go buy the vacation, and then refill it next year and then do it again. So you're just kind of recycling your money.
Basically, they're just using the policy
as a savings vehicle,
just like they would a bank account.
I mean, because think about it. If you're
just getting those 5 extra benefits, so why not get those 5 benefits than just putting a bank account and getting nothing?
Here's the reason. Great question. If you had 10 grand you're putting aside every year for vacation, then you spend 10 grand every single year on a vacation. So over a 10-year period, you would spend 100K on vacations. So you would lose $100,000 in your family's wealth. Mm-hmm. Imagine that $100,000 over that 10 years earning 6% for the rest of your life, guaranteed. That would eventually turn into hundreds of thousands, maybe millions of dollars in 30, 40 years. So that compounding of your money, you're losing by spending it. So that's the problem we're trying to solve, is how can we still finance those things but not lose our capital and still grow on our money?
So it truly is like double dipping.
Your money's in and out, 10 grand a year goes in the policy, now it sits here forever and grows. No issues. Then you just leverage it, pay for the taxes, then refill it the next year. So you're taking loans against yourself, repaying it, just moving money in and out, while the original amount's gonna grow forever.
So it's just truly your bank account.
It's banking. But in a bank account, you'd lose the whole 100 grand to pay for the vacations. So it's keeping your money and spending at the same time. And that's the broader idea. And then when you get to retirement, going back to the idea of it being a versatile asset, once you get to 60, 65, 55, whenever you want to retire, maybe some of your income you pull from every year is not just your IRAs or your 401ks. Maybe it's also this cash value in your policies. So now all this money you've built up over the years, financing things in your life, repaying it, paying for taxes, whatever, all this money's built up in there. You just draw from it every year for retirement. And you're pulling against the death benefit, and it's decreasing the death benefit, but you'd rather have the death benefit while you're alive anyway, so might as well use it. Mm-hmm. And so now you have additional income at retirement, predictable income because it's guaranteed, whereas other assets might not be. And so it can play a pretty big role in all the things you do in life. Now, when I say the policy, if you put 10 grand a year in a policy or 10 grand a year in the stock market, what's gonna be bigger in 30 years? Probably the stock market. But again, that's not what we're trying to do. It's the idea of financing things and saving and spending at the same time. And if you do that same math of, say that vacation math, you spend 100 grand on vacations, if that grew the rest of your life to tons of money, do that same math on all the big purchases you make, all the investments you make. You're losing out on so much growth on your money by spending it. So by putting all those things through your policy forever, that will actually produce a lot of long-term wealth.
So how long have you had these policies for yourself?
Well, I have a cheat. You got policies on me when I was young. Yeah. I don't know how young, but you've had policies that are pretty old on me that are small amounts, but you've been technically saving money that I could use eventually.
I mean, I own the policy.
He owns it.
You can't technically do anything with it.
No, not yet. But I don't think it's that much any money anyways. But I've had my own personal policies for, I think, 4 years.
Okay.
I think it's about
so
that.
Can you give me an example of the last 1 or 2 things that you and Anna have used your policies for?
I pulled funds out actually to pay taxes. I pulled money out of the cash value, pay taxes. I also, this is kind of deep into the strategy, but I pulled a loan to actually pay next year's premiums too. So to keep the policy growing, keep building it up. That way, all I have to do is just repay my loans at all times, and the policy just pays for the premium by itself every year. Yeah. That makes sense? So all I have to do is just one in and out. So paid for the premium through the loan feature, and I guess pay taxes too. So a little bit more complex, but the basic stuff I usually do with it is just saving money up, pulling it out, and go putting down payments on rentals. So that's the typical way.
How many like clients do you have that have done this concept?
I was actually just looking. I think I've personally met with like literally 3,000 people. Okay. Maybe 2,500. A lot of people.
So do they tell you, I know they all don't tell you, but
no.
do some of them tell you what they do?
Yeah.
So would you mind sharing, like, what is something crazy that you've heard of that someone's done? Is there anything crazy? Maybe there's not, by the way, because banking can be boring.
It is boring.
But is there anything crazy anyone's done or invested in doing it that was like, oh my gosh?
Good question. Yes, we actually just recently had somebody reach out. So they have a policy on themselves, policy on their spouse, policy on their kids even. This isn't that crazy, but they want to now get policies on their grandkids. And I just think it's cool because they're now setting up a foundation for like their family to literally be a family bank. Mm-hmm. If baby Wells, my son, wants to get a car when he's 16, he could call Grandpa Greg and say, hey, I want a loan for 15 grand to go buy my car and get from the Herlean bank. And then you can take a loan from his policy you've been building up for that time, pay for the car for him, and then you can teach him to pay you back. And now he's not paying interest to a bank, he's not paying interest to somebody else, he's paying back the family bank. Mm-hmm. So I just think people setting that system up young is really cool.
That is cool. That's
so, I mean, and that's something I'm wanting to build. But I think if we do get deeper into this, someone like you, I feel like business, what I've talked about thus far and who uses the strategy in the ways we've been talking about are the typical W-2 employee. I feel like the conversation's a little bit different when it comes to business owners. It's less about banking and more about the security of the asset. And so for someone like you or a higher net worth individual, I feel like people are funneling money into policies every year for the purpose of protection, guaranteed growth, and liquidity. You probably have some sort of investment portfolio where you have something in bonds and stocks and some sort of ratio mix of the two. And so if you're gonna be putting money in a bond at 4% growth, probably taxed, the policy will honestly do the same thing and be way more secured, and you can still tap into it. So I see a lot of business owners who are trying to build an investment portfolio totally scratch the whole bond idea and use life insurance. Everything goes into life insurance and then their investments, and that's their whole investment portfolio. Millions of dollars going into the whole life, which is not typically what anyone in the financial industry teaches or talks about. But because it's still liquid, because it also provides death benefits, you don't have to ever buy term insurance, it ends up being way more cost efficient and a better return long term.
So, Carson, I talked to my financial advisor and they were like, what? There's no way in hell you should move $1 million from me over into an insurance policy to an insurance agent selling whole life insurance.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? This is a crazy idea, Carson. What do you say to that?
It is a crazy idea. I wouldn't say it's crazy. I'd say it's super normal if we were having this conversation 100 years ago. I think 95% of Americans used whole life insurance this way in like the 50s and 60s. So
not 100 years ago.
Not 100, a while ago. Yeah, when you were a baby.
Yeah.
So anyway.
I mean, you hear that. This comes up. But this comes up. And so
this totally comes up.
So advisors will hate on it, but people in general will hate on it.
Yeah.
Not everyone, but if they hate on it, why do people hate on it?
People just don't know. Like, even wealthy people don't know. I could show you a chart of the policy. It's literally guaranteed, and I can show you the returns are gonna be better than a bond portfolio. Like, I can show you the math. It's common knowledge. I don't know why people don't talk about it. I guess that's your question. Why do people talk about it? I think it's just they're not taught. And we have people in our ears in the traditional way of the 401k, and that's it. Like, that's just what people know. And no one has education on it. So just like self-directed IRAs, no one knows you can self-direct IRAs. When I first was talking to somebody a couple years ago, and I knew about it obviously because I grew up with you, and someone said they didn't know what it was, and they were like 50. I'm like, how on earth do you not know what that is? That's common sense. But like, how do they not know?
That's my job.
Right? No one knows. You deal with the same stuff with self-directed. So
I do. Yeah.
It doesn't mean it's a scam. Doesn't mean it's bad.
Yeah.
They just don't know about it.
They're not educated, like you said. And
I mean, do you have financial advisors pushing back on you?
Oh yeah, every day. And so
why? Yours is even easier to defend.
Well, no. It's just as hard. Because mostly it has to do with lack of education by advisors.
Yeah.
And number two, they lose control / the fees. So once
Well, totally.
they move money over to me,
Totally.
to our company, they're losing fees. And so, and look, it's not for everyone what I do, or probably what you do. Although for what you do, I almost feel like it is for everyone.
It is, yeah.
For me, it's not for everybody. So because once the money comes over, then it's like, well, now what do you do with it? But we don't know what you're going to do with it. In your case, in insurance policies, you can just pay your taxes, pay your bills,
you really could
to pay it back. So that's why I think his is so unique, where I think everyone should look at it. And it's just a good reminder, because I feel like even me, who's got policies, I've had policies for a while, sometimes I just don't use them very much. And I forget, and actually I'm glad I forget about it, because it's kind of nice when I get the statements that come in the mail, I'm like, oh, I forgot that I have this much money there. It's awesome if I ever need it. So, But I do find a lot of value in it. And I do find, for me, in these policies, and the reason why I want to bring it up is because it's come up. I've had friends come to me and say, oh, he's doing this. Well, some people won't even they think it's a bad thing to say insurance, which I get why they would say it, but it's not your typical insurance. And so I think it's worth anyone and everybody taking a look at it and buying the right kind of policy, because there are bad ones. There's definitely bad ones. But it's just educating yourself on this concept, because it's been around for so long. It's the safest kind of thing out there. And for me, what I was going to say is what gives me the most comfort. And
that's right.
And when you are investing and putting your money somewhere,
that's right,
how you sleep at night and where your money is protected and held gives me comfort. And being able to see a decent sized money that's in cash value, in a policy, that's of value. So
to your point, even if you're not leveraging it or using it all the time, you don't have to. That's the cool thing too. It's still going to earn a dividend whether you use it or not. So if you want the cash to sit there for the peace of mind, or you want to take it out and go buy a rental, you can do whatever you want. If it just sits there, all good.
Yeah, it's so powerful. And so, look, I think it's a subject that people bring up to me all the time, because they always ask me what you do. And it's sometimes easier to say that you do real estate, because
it is.
They understand real estate.
Dude, we gotta change the narrative, I feel like. Because it's, even people who are educated, they think it's a scam. Or they think it's not as good or too good to be true. And I think it's just because of the way it's marketed, be your own bank. That sounds
and then you're
too good to be true.
An insurance policy. It's it's an insurance thing.
Yeah. So, I think insurance just has a bad rep, just like car salesmen have bad reps. I think it just is a thing, but that narrative does need to change. And I think there is a wave, I feel like, that's slowly happening where it's becoming more popular again and people are talking about it a lot more. So I think the narrative is changing, but I think one thing to know is if you hear somebody saying whole life insurance is a bad investment, it's got a bad rate of return, whole life insurance is not even an investment. It's not considered an investment in any asset class. So if that person who's saying that can't even correctly identify what type of asset that it is, you probably shouldn't take advice from them in the first place. It's just a tough thing we're working through with the industry. But it's very powerful. And I've seen literally thousands of people incorporate this strategy. And so we do it, others do it, and they do it at varying levels too. Some people are just small policies. Some people have tons of policies they run everything through. So you also can do it at whatever level you want. It comes down to just your comfortability and how much responsibility you want over your money.
One other thing I'd say as we wrap up here is it's just math. It's numbers. And so you can actually just plug in the numbers and see if it makes sense. And it's guaranteed. That's what's cool. Is the money you put in there has a fixed guarantee minimum. And so, and it's tax free, those gains. And so that's powerful. When I look at other investments that I invest in a lot of times with my IRA or outside my IRA, we're hopeful that it's 10 or 15 or 20%. Yeah. There is no guarantees. And so there's pros and cons to both. And so, look, if you've not looked at this and you've not kind of addressed it or want to dive deeper into it, contact my boy, Mr. Carson, Mr. DJ, the Carson.
And he's saying that, by the way, because when he came into the office today, I had the DJ table out, and
He did. He was working on it.
I'm trying to get my skills honed down.
Definitely keep his day job. That being said, he's always learning, but also I would call him an expert in the space, which is crazy to think. Are you 23?
Yeah.
23 years old, done thousands of these policies, talked to probably double that in policies.
Yeah.
And he's seen so many different kind of scenarios and can help you. So if you have questions about it, want to just kind of bust the myths out there about it, you want to talk to Carson. He's so good at it. And he will give. That's one thing that we share in common, is we want to give as much information and content so you are well equipped to make decisions on your own. And so thank you for today. Thanks for talking about this subject. And look, you're kicking ass, so I'm proud of you. I'm very much proud of you. So let's wrap up with you choose your sweet sour service for today.
Sweet sour service. Those of you watching, we do this with our family all the time, talking about sweets of our weeks, sours, and service, or gratitude even sometimes we do. I would start by saying gratitude. I feel like we're just so blessed. Life's so good. Life's so happy. And we're blessed to be in that season of life with a new baby boy. He's 3 months old. And we're getting in a good rhythm with him and better schedule. He's sleeping more at night. And it's been so fun to have him in the house. So very grateful for the past couple months of that.
Yeah, that's definitely sweet for me. Grateful. I would say I'll follow that train. I feel the same. Family's healthy, but the gratefulness that I share today probably is more of just, life is hard, and there's a lot of hard things and noise around all of the time. And to be able to have sweets every day, literally every day, to have a sweet happen, a big sweet, like something that's, like right before I got here, Summer ran up to me and gave me a hug. I was literally on the Zoom in the middle of a meeting looking about an acquisition, and she was like, Dad, it comes up. And then after she went down, I said, okay, you gotta go. And she's like, no, Beso first. And I was like, oh, she got my heart. So anyways, just the kids, and I'm just grateful for just the sweets that we have every single day.
Yeah, that's great.
Anyways, thanks for being with us today. Appreciate it today, Carson.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
Appreciate it.